Have you ever stopped to think about what's right under your feet when you're walking through a city? I mean, really think about it. Because just a few feet beneath the pavement, there is this whole hidden world, a layered history of secrets, forgotten stories, and actual physical proof of lives lived long, long before ours. So, what is actually down there? Is it a neatly cataloged record of the past, all filed away? A tangled web of local legends and rumors? Or could it be evidence of something way, way bigger? We're about to dive into 3 completely different ways to answer that exact question. Okay, first up, let's start with the scientific approach. This is the world of archaeology, It's methodical, it's all about evidence, and it is painstakingly detailed. And to get a feel for it, we're going to use a real official environmental report from Dublin, Ireland as our guide. Now, the goal here isn't to speculate or make up Kummel stories. Nope, it's to document. Every single discovery, it doesn't matter how small, gets recorded. It's kind of like building a verifiable history from the ground up, based only on what you can physically prove is there. And what's really fascinating is just how much the findings can vary. I mean, sometimes they dig and find absolutely nothing of significance. Other times, it's something interesting, like an 18th century brick floor, but then, bam, you get something incredible. We're talking 224 skeletons from a 17th century cemetery, or even a house from the Viking era, 1,000 years old. And that is the payoff for all that careful work. It leads to these huge breakthrough discoveries. Finding this house wasn't just a lucky guess. It was the first concrete proof of that kind of settlement in that specific part of the city. It literally rewrote a piece of Dublin's history. But what happens when the official record doesn't quite tell the whole story? Or at least, it doesn't feel like it does? Well, let's shift gears to our next perspective and see how a local community fills in those gaps with its own story. And right here, things take a sharp turn. This one question, posted on a Reddit forum for Lancaster, Pennsylvania, kicks off a whole different kind of investigation. See, this one doesn't start with physical evidence. It starts with a suspicion. A key piece of local lore, a map of old tunnels, has just vanished, and the official explanation just feels off. And that little seed of suspicion, it explodes into a whole mythology. All of a sudden, those tunnels could be for anything the community can dream up. Were they used by bootleggers during Prohibition? Were they part of the Underground Railroad? Secret passages for Masonic lodges? People just start sharing memories of old connected basements and weird drains, weaving together this incredible, shared but totally unverified history. So for this community, the world underground isn't some closed case that you just document and file away. No, it's an active, ongoing mystery. It's way less about what can be proven and much more about what feels true, all driven by this powerful sense that there's an unofficial story just waiting to be told. So, what happens when that feeling of a hidden story goes global? For our third perspective, we're looking at a YouTube theorist who sees these local mysteries not as isolated little events, but as tiny pieces of one single, epic conspiracy. The key concept to grab onto here is the necropolis. In this view, ancient sites all around the world aren't just tombs. No, they are evidence of a vast, interconnected, and super advanced old world civilization that has been deliberately scrubbed from the history books. According to this theory, mainstream archaeology isn't about discovery at all. It's actually about destruction. The argument goes that official excavations are really just cover-ups, designed to go in, remove all the amazing artifacts and technology of this lost civilization, and hide the evidence. So how do they explain away all the missing stuff? Well, the theory says there's a convenient story for that. The establishment just blames looters of the past for all the missing artifacts and bodies. It's a simple, neat explanation to hide a much, much larger operation. And this is the real kicker, a clever reframing of a single word. When officials talk about preservation, this theory argues, they don't mean preserving the actual site. They mean preserving their story, the official, mainstream narrative, by hiding anything and everything that contradicts it. And this really shows you the sheer scale of this perspective. A necropolis in Cyprus, the Cahokia Mounds over in Illinois. In this worldview, these aren't separate histories. They're all just nodes in one single global network, all pointing to the same lost civilization and the same modern-day cover-up. So we've just walked through 3 profoundly different ways of seeing the exact same space, the world right beneath our feet. We've got the scientist, the community, and the theorist. Now, the goal here isn't to decide who's right. It's to understand why we tell such different stories about the past in the first place. Let's just break it down one more time. The scientific approach, it uses evidence to see the underground as a historical record. The communal approach, it uses crowdsourced stories to see it as a local secret. And the conspiratorial approach, it reinterprets everything to see it as proof of a global cover-up. 3 different methods, leading to 3 completely different realities. But, when you boil it all down, what this really shows us is something fundamental about being human. We are all driven by this deep, powerful need to make sense of what we can't see. The scientist looks for meaning in physical proof, the community finds it in a shared story, and the theorist builds it from a hidden pattern. It's all part of the exact same human impulse, to fill in the dark spots on the map. So the next time you're walking down the street, maybe you'll ask yourself, what really lies beneath my own feet? And maybe more importantly, when you look down, what story do you choose to see? The one that's documented, the one that's rumored, or the one that's hidden?